The less intelligence you have, the less privilege you're going to have. Imagine if you have to work for someone. I mean, most people do, but who usually has the less privilege at any business? Just name a business. Who has the least amount of privilege? The most, unintelligent one there. The more intelligence you have, the more you're going to move up, the more privilege you're going to have. So if you're intelligent enough to make it to CEO, or just the very top, or even a supervisor, manager, and just up higher than that, you're going to have more privilege than the people that aren't able to work their way up, or don't want it, or what have you. So I feel like that the less intelligence you have, the less privilege you're going to have. And then we could even go a step further, like someone creating their own business. They have the intelligence to come up with an idea, something that's needed. They create a business, and then the business is successful. And obviously, they're going to have the most privilege because they have a successful business, and so they get all the privilege. And now, if that person hires someone, the person they hire is not going to have the same amount of privilege as the person who created the business. Okay. Now, if the person who that person hires learns and gets super intelligent in that business, and then goes and starts their own business, there you go. You're going to have that person's going to have a lot of privilege as well. But if the person that business creator hires, isn't smart enough, or just doesn't want any more money, or doesn't want to better themselves, and they just work for that person their whole life, they're going to have less privilege. That's why I'm equating less intelligence to less privilege. Okay, I think the problem is not privilege, but oppression and suppression. Okay, because there have been many times throughout history, obviously, most likely throughout all time, okay, where people of a certain community will, try to build their own communities, build their own infrastructure, build their own, businesses, and create something like that, and they have been, taken out. Their businesses, their houses, their families, they've been destroyed. Like a lot of times it happened in, black communities back when segregation was a thing, and these black communities would, since they weren't able to get privilege through other people's businesses, since it's like, these people built their businesses and they're like, we don't want this group of people to work for us. So very intelligent black people were like, well, let's create our own. And so they built up their own communities, banks, churches, theaters, hotels, just black owned, self sustaining communities that were very prosperous. And if you take a look at, well, they call them Black Wall Street, and there were multiple, I guess, throughout United States history, but there's something called the Tulsa Race Massacre, where, the powers that be, or whoever, didn't like the fact that these black communities were gaining their own privilege. They didn't want them to have privilege. So how do you stop someone from creating their own privilege? You suppress and you oppress them. Oppress and suppress, and that's what they did. And there was a massacre. They just went and burned everything down, killed a lot of people, destroyed businesses, just destroyed the whole community. But that is not privilege. That is oppression and suppression. I mean, I guess you could make the case that they're able to get away with that because they have a privilege. But I just think it happens with the same race. It happens in other countries. I mean, think about it. You go to other countries, the people, the people that are natural to that, not necessarily natural, but have been there the longest, that control everything, the government, like in Africa, Africans are going to control everything. In Mexico, Mexicans are going to control everything. In Chinese are going to control everything. So obviously, that group of people are going to have more privilege than someone else not that hasn't been there that long of a time. So that's just natural. I think privilege is just a natural thing, that just happens. I mean, imagine if a family, like just say mom, dad, 5 kids, they build this utopia. And it takes them years and years and years, and they build this utopia homestead with food and water and power and just all these different things that make it like a utopia, independent, self-sustaining. And then one of the kids brings their friends to come live there. Now, is that friend going to have as much privilege as like the family? No, of course not, because they didn't participate in, the building. They're not part of the family. They're not blood. There's just various factors that naturally create more privilege for people. And like what I said, I think it more comes down to the problem of being suppression and oppression. Because people will be like, intelligent people will be like, okay, let me build my own thing, do my own thing. So they start creating these regulations, like they did with Black Wall Street as well. They started creating all kind of regulations, all kind of things where it's like, you can't do this, you can't do that. And I think it just still goes on to this day where they're like, oh, well, you have to be connected to the power grid. Like in California, you have to be connected to the power grid. You can't go out and, just have solar panels and have your own waste and like have all these different things. You can't do that. It's like they make these policies and regulations that suppress and oppress people from creating their own privilege. So yeah, I think it just comes down to oppression and suppression. Like I said, with the analogy with the family, intelligence versus ignorance. Like, I think there's a lot that comes into play, instead of just privilege, because I think just privilege is just a natural occurring thing that happens when a group of people, have high intelligence, create these things, come up with ideas, and build something from the ground up. It's like they're going to have the ultimate privilege. Okay, so privilege is just natural. And claiming like, oh, well, white privilege, black privilege. I mean, now they're saying there's black privilege and female privilege because they're just letting them in because they have to fill a quota, not necessarily because they have the talent. Not saying they don't have talent, because everyone has, in my opinion, everyone has the potential for genius. No matter what color, no matter what gender, no matter what race, no matter what anything, everyone has the potential for genius. It's just like I said, suppression and oppression, flooding towns with drugs, like the leaked CIA documents where they did that. They flooded South Central with crack cocaine. And I mean, that's not funny. It's not a laughing matter. It's just like, it's crazy that these kind of things happen throughout history. But I just think people are directing their anger and their vitriol and all this on something that just comes natural. And if they were in the same position where they built something up and from the ground up and wanted to hire, their race and their gender and their, then more power to them. That's just natural. You know what I mean? It's family first, then friends, then friends of you, then friends of your family, then family of family, and then after like all that's done, then it's like, okay, now let's go and try to find someone that can fit in with the company that we built from the ground up, that's going to work, that's going to mesh together. Like it's just natural. The problem is suppression and oppression, and you see it with like with Black Wall Street, which is attacking people's businesses, destroying it, sabotage, agents that come in, agitators that come in and suppress things and create drama and destroy things, Judases. Like there's so many Judases in this world that you build something up and just one person will come and just destroy it because, I mean, look at that happened with Selena, right? She had that singer, that Mexican singer, that she had that gal work for her. I guess the gal was obsessed with her and ended up Judas, killing her. Basically, there's a lot of Judases out there. But yeah, I think people have misdirected anger and all that. If you have any difference of opinion and you can explain to me why, a privilege is not natural, because in my opinion it's natural, and I think the problem is suppression and oppression. If you can, make me feel a different way on, what you think privilege is, please do so in the comments. I'm open to a lot of different ideas. I'm open to have my mind changed. I'm sure there, like, I'm not saying privilege is the greatest thing in the world. I'm just saying it's natural and it just happens. And people who are like-minded and alike in a lot of ways are going to stick together and they are going to work together. I mean, look at Hollywood. Hollywood is very discriminate in who they allow in their circles. Okay, and the reason why they're so discriminate, they've always have been, and obviously it's changing, but they're still doing that. It says storage space running out, so I'm going to have to stop recording. But they're very discriminate, and the reason why is because, they've been burned so many times. You allow in people that aren't part of your group, that aren't part of your race, heritage, gender, whatever. Sometimes you get burned. Okay, so that's what happens. Anyway, thanks for watching the video. Let me know what you think. Please try to change my mind if you have a difference of opinion. Thanks for watching. See you next time. Peace.